And I'm very excited to talk to our next guest. His name is Scott Honor. He's locked in this primary fight in Minnesota. There's a primary fight going on there for governor. And the current governor is this far-left guy named Mark Dayton, okay? And Dayton he's well-heeled. You know, I never thought he was all that popular in the state. And he's had he himself has had a wild background. Of course, former senator, now governor. And the Republicans want to unseat him. So we got a number of Republicans in this race. And I met Scott, I guess, last summer at an event that I was speaking at. Had a chance to chat with him there. He's very successful in business. And he's decided, look, I've got to try to save my country, save my state, and do what I think is best to kind of turn around this economy. And so he's running, and he joins us now. Scott, great to talk to you again. How are you?
I'm well. Thanks for having me on the show.
So what do you make? I mean, look, you're watching this thing play out in Minnesota, and people say, well, Minnesota, you know, the border of Canada with Minnesota. So how does immigration or illegal immigration, these waves of immigration, how could it affect your state and perhaps in a way that's not all that good?
Well, look, I think this problem affects everyone in the country, and I start from the perspective that we have a security and an enforcement problem. I mean, we clearly don't have secure borders, and we need to have that. We deserve to have that. It's absolutely got to be our imperative. But the enforcement issue is one that we see here in Minnesota. When we have companies hiring illegal immigrants in Minnesota, that harms every Minnesotan's ability to earn higher wages. And I think we've got to get away from government picking winners and losers amongst businesses. And when government doesn't enforce these laws to the extent they can, it's no different than giving handouts to certain businesses. And we got to create a playing field here in our state where companies are encouraged to come here to create jobs. And Minnesota is the state that has created the fewest startups in the country in recent years. We have our citizens leaving the state to the tune of $1 million of annual income, leaving Minnesota every single day when you take all the people coming in and all the people leaving our state. And it's because we have a governor who's put forth a set of disastrous policies that put overburdened regulations on our companies, and we're charging too much in taxes, and we're spending too much. Our state spends 2.5 times as much per citizen as we did in 1980. In real inflation-adjusted dollars, apples to apples. The government's getting bigger regardless of who's in office, and frankly, true with, even when Republicans have been in leadership. And that's one of the reasons I'm running. We've got too many career politicians that focus on how to promote their career instead of how do we get the best results out of government and do it in a way that helps everyone. I want to help all Minnesotans, but I want to help them by giving them a hand up, a start in life, a way to create success, just like I have. When I started out in life, I started with very little. When I was born, my family lived in a trailer park. In high school, when I was in high school, my dad lost his job and lost his pension. And I went on to become the first in my family to graduate from college and then had a successful career in business, starting, buying, and fixing companies. And we need people that have that sort of skill set. We need someone that has a vision, a plan, knows how to put a team together, knows how to get everyone working together and focusing on how we get better results for all citizens.
You have a lot of competitors in this race. You got and at least this guy Jeff Johnson, doesn't he have the party's endorsement? Does he have some big endorsement in Minnesota? I know Johnson does, and then Marty Seifert, Kurt Zellers. So it's a kind of a crowded field, and they're clearly. I see what's going on here. I mean, they're trying to paint you as the Mitt Romney of Minnesota. You came from nothing, but look, you're just one more out of touch rich guy who is all about big business, and big business is your big business is your ally, and so you're not going to be a reliable fighter for the little guy. That's if I've seen some of the things that they're saying about you, and it doesn't surprise me. So someone like you would have to have real answers to that.
Well, and I think it starts with leaning into that success. I want my own story to be an aspirational story. The sort of opportunities I had coming from a public school education and creating success and financial security for myself and my family, that's what we want in America. We want people to have the chance to live the American dream. The fact that I started a company that today has over 150 employees, the fact that I helped build a firm that that bought and fixed companies, saved jobs, created over $1 billion of gains for pensioners. Those are good things. We want to talk about them. And the skills that I developed that let me be successful in those efforts, I think are exactly the skills we need in government. And, I'm running against 3 nice guys, but they're career politicians. They've spent their whole life trying to figure out how to move to the next point in their political career. We need real leadership here in government, and that's what I'm looking to bring.
So when I think big business, and I see this piece today by Sheldon Adelson, who describes himself as a social liberal, but he's a Republican, and he writes this piece today, a big column, everyone's talking about it, similar to what Rupert Murdoch wrote, another billionaire. The amnesty, we have to do immigration, we have to do a comprehensive immigration reform now. We have to do it now because all these people here want to work, and we need to get them working, and we need to just drop this issue and just move on. What's your reaction to that?
Look, I think we've got to start by securing our border. Let's have that conversation. Let's not create an incentive for more people to come into our country illegally. And until we know that we have a secure border, I think we should just focus on enforcing our laws. And we need to have a government that shows real leadership. I mean, we have this lack of leadership in our state. We see it nationally. We have gridlock because career politicians are just focusing on moving the peas around on the plate instead of getting real things done. And I don't see that we have secure borders right now. Let's get that done.
Well, I think everybody wants to link them, right? Not everybody, but the elites in the Republican Party. Remember, they're going to try to paint you as you're the elite. You're in a Mitt Romney, and this is the game that's played in politics. So I say this to all my friends who are really wealthy and created wealth and did really well. The little guy, the small business owner, those people are your allies, right? Those are the people who voters should see you fighting for. And the working class people, and you came from working class. I came from working class. And when working class people can't get ahead in the United States, it's very difficult for them to get ahead. Seeing a bunch of rich people, running the show who advocate for comprehensive immigration reform, it's infuriating to people. And so that's what I saw in Virginia. I saw this real frustration on the part of the electorate that they feel like the Republican Party had become completely removed from the concerns of the workaday person.
I agree with that, and I think we need leaders that are going to fight for the everyman citizen. I have a running mate in my race too, Karin Housley, who same background as me, came from very little. Parents were public school teachers. Went on to create success in business. Bringing that kind of expertise and that kind of approach that it allows us to focus on how do you help everyone? How do we give people the chance to create opportunity for themselves? That's what this party needs to be about. And we've got to focus on achieving results. And when we let these career politicians just continue to try to do things that advance their career instead of getting what we need done, and in immigration, it's border security. That's what we need done first. Let's get that done. And we need the kind of leaders that will stand tall and be willing to fight for the average citizen in this country.
And, Scott, the primary is August 12th, I believe, in your state. And with a crowded field, people in a hot, hazy summer in Minnesota, getting people to turn out, again, it's that fire. It's people have to think there's something on the line here, and this person's going to take us over the finish line, and I'm going to have someone who's going to slug away for me every day. And O'Reilly Factory says, I'm looking out for you. That's a great brand. I'm looking out. People have to think you're actually doing that. Obama said he was going to do that. And that was very appealing. It was change. It was reform. I'm going to be looking out for you, and I'm not going to stop until everybody who is here and working hard can get a job. And that just all fell by the wayside. So it's the disdain for the cliched politicians who just say whatever they have to say to get elected. People have great disdain for that, and they want to see a real alternative.
Well, we're seeing that in our state, people really have the same view, right? That they want to see a leader that's actually going to get things done. And it's conservative principles are what will help people's lives improve. And we're out there telling that story, and we'll get a ton of support. I mean, and I think people see that this election is a great opportunity to really put that stake in the ground and say we're tired of career politicians. We want people that are going to be advocates for the citizens of this country and this state. And, we're getting that support. And I think we're going to continue to see this across the country.
Sorry to interrupt, but we're almost out of time. Is it the case that we got local law enforcement in Minnesota releasing illegal immigrants? I thought I saw a piece about that they're releasing illegal immigrants because they can't hold them any longer?
Well, yeah, there was just news a couple of weeks ago that in our county where I live, Hampton County, the county is no longer going to hold illegal immigrants, as requested by ICE. And, this is, frankly, part of the lack of leadership of this president, right, that he's not pushing these rules and these laws. And so our county has said, you know what, we don't think we have to follow that request anymore. We're not going to do it.
Okay,
Last year, there were 540 illegal immigrants.
So they were released, criminals.
Yeah, well, there were 540 illegal immigrants held in our jails. Now, going forward, our county jail won't hold those illegal immigrants anymore at ICE's request.
Right, so they're taking, jobs and opportunities from Minnesotans. Okay. Yeah, this is what drives people crazy. We appreciate your joining us. Scott Honor, Minnesota businessman, and this is an exciting race. I'm following this extremely closely. And we're going to look at some of these other people running as well. We'll take a break here on the Laura Ingraham Show, 855-40-LAURA.